There's a number in Shark's own paperwork for this sweeper that doesn't match itself. One official document says one thing, a separate official document says something completely different. And it's not some minor detail. It's the exact number a lot of buyers care about most before they spend their money. Welcome to Sweep Gear, where we dig into the research so you don't have to guess whether a cleaning product is actually worth your money. Today we're looking at a compact, cordless little machine that's been quietly sitting on store shelves for years, priced under $50, and somehow still showing up in comparison after comparison. Here's the everyday problem this thing is trying to solve. Not every mess in your house deserves a full vacuum session. Cereal on the kitchen tile, a trail of dog hair by the back door, crumbs under the table after dinner, hauling out a big vacuum, finding an outlet, winding the cord back up afterward. For a 2-minute job, that's a lot of effort. That's the gap this sweeper is built for. And if you've got pets or kids or both, you already know this gap shows up multiple times a day, not once a week. So the real question isn't whether a fast cordless tool would help. It's whether this specific one actually holds up or whether it's another cheap gadget that works great for 2 weeks and then quietly dies in a drawer. That's worth taking seriously because owner experiences on this exact point are split in an interesting way. Some people report using the same unit for years without issue. Others describe it working fine at first, then losing power fast, and eventually not turning on at all. We'll get into exactly why that split exists because it matters more than most reviews let on. Let's start with what this thing is actually good at, since that part is pretty consistent across real owners. It's a 10-inch wide cordless sweeper with a motorized brush roll, no bag, no filter, just a spinning brush and a pull-out dust cup you empty with one push of a button. Pet hair pickup is where it earns its reputation. Across a wide range of owner feedback, this comes up again and again as the standout strength, picking up embedded pet hair and kitty litter without immediately clogging the brush. If you've got a shedding dog or a cat that tracks litter across the kitchen floor, that's exactly the kind of daily annoyance this machine was built to knock out in under a minute. Hard floors are its other strong suit. Hardwood, tile, laminate, this is where the motorized brush does its best work, gliding easily and picking up dust and debris without needing a big power boost. If your home is mostly hard flooring, this thing is playing right in its wheelhouse. Now, the swivel steering deserves a mention because it's easy to overlook until you're actually using it. It's the difference between wrestling a sweeper around a table leg and just gliding past it without breaking stride. Pair that with the lightweight and you've got something you can genuinely run one-handed, useful when you're also holding a coffee mug or chasing a toddler. Before we go further, let's circle back to that mismatch number from the start because it actually affects how you should plan around this thing. Shark's own support documentation says charging takes 7 hours, both the first time and every time after. But a separate official-looking manual floating around online claims 12 to 16 hours for that first charge. Those two numbers can't both be true, since the 7-hour figure shows up twice, independently, straight from Shark's own support channel and their printed owner's manual. That's the one worth trusting. If you're planning around charge time, budget for around 7 hours, not an entire day and a half. Runtime tells a similar story. Shark's own documentation puts it around 12 minutes or more on bare floors and light carpet, with heavier resistance draining it faster. Real owners report something closer to 15 or 20 minutes of comfortable use. Either way, this isn't built for a marathon, whole house cleaning session. It's built for short bursts, which lines up with how most people actually use it. If you'd like to check today's price or see what other buyers are saying, I've left the product link in the description below. Now let's unpack the part that actually explains that mixed battery feedback from earlier. This unit runs on a nickel metal hydride battery, and one verified buyer described their unit working great for a few weeks, then failing completely. Even after a full recharge, it just wouldn't hold power anymore. That's not an isolated complaint either. It shows up often enough in retailer reviews to take seriously rather than write off as one unlucky unit. But here's what actually changes the math on this. The battery isn't sealed inside. It's a replaceable part sold both directly through Shark and through several third-party sellers, usually for around $15 to $25. So if the battery does eventually weaken, you're not buying a whole new sweeper, you're swapping a $15 part. That single fact turns what sounds like a deal breaker into a manageable, expected maintenance item, closer to replacing batteries in a cordless drill than dealing with a broken appliance. Let's talk carpet, because Works on All Floor Types is doing some heavy lifting in the marketing copy. In reality, this handles light area rugs and low pile carpet reasonably well. Thick carpet, high pile rugs, anything with real depth to it That's not what this tool was designed for. If most of your home is carpeted wall to wall, this isn't going to replace your main vacuum, and it was never trying to. One more honest note, hair wraps around the brush roll over time, especially with long-haired pets or people in the house. Shark's manual actually walks you through cutting wound hair off with scissors along a built-in guide. It's a 5-minute job every so often, not a constant chore, but it's real maintenance, not a set it and forget it situation. So how does this stack up against the obvious alternative? The Bissell Perfect Sweep Turbo sits in almost the exact same price range and does a similar job. Owner satisfaction leans slightly toward this Shark, but Bissell isn't a bad choice by any stretch. A legitimate option if you find it for a few dollars less. And if you're picturing this as a replacement for your main vacuum in a bigger, carpet-heavy home, that's a different category of product entirely. You'd want a full cordless stick vacuum instead, which costs a lot more but brings real suction power to the table. So who's this actually right for? If you live somewhere with mostly hard flooring, if you've got pets shedding daily, if you just want something fast for the 10-minute messes that don't justify the big vacuum, this fits that role well, without costing much or asking much of you in return. If you've got a carpet-heavy home, if you're hoping this replaces a real vacuum entirely, or if occasionally swapping a battery sounds like more hassle than you want, this probably isn't your best match. And that's completely fair. For what it actually claims to be, a lightweight, budget-friendly, cordless, quick pickup tool, it delivers on that promise. The battery situation is real, but it's manageable, not a hidden trap. Go in knowing what this is and what it isn't, and you'll know exactly whether it belongs in your house. If this helped you figure out whether it's the right fit, tap that like button so more people looking into this exact question can find honest answers too. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We break down cleaning products like this one every week, strengths and weaknesses both. Have you owned one of these cordless sweepers before? Good or bad experience? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and it genuinely helps other people trying to make this same decision.